All across Ireland, you'll come across sad reminders of our past, famine graveyards. In 1841, the population of Ireland was 8.2 million, making us the most densely populated country in Europe. By 1851, it was 6.5 million, a decrease of almost a quarter in 10 years. Today, due to continuing emigration, the population is still only around 7 million for the whole of the island. At the time of the famine, the potato was the staple diet for the majority of people of Ireland. On average, a working man ate 6.5 kilos and a woman 5 kilos of potatoes every day. It's a nutritious food, high in carbohydrates, protein and vitamins, and when mixed with buttermilk, it provided a wholesome diet. However, this overdependence of the population on a single crop made us vulnerable to any crop failure. Potato blight, a devastating fungus, first appeared in America in 1843. By the summer of 1845, reports of blight began to appear on the continent, and then in Ireland. This blight caused the failure of the potato crop for the subsequent 4 years. Of course, the famine, and Gorta Moore, was caused by more than just a crop failure. It was also a political failure on the part of the ruling British government. Economic forces ensured that more valuable food crops grown or raised in Ireland were exported, and that policy did not change when the potato crop failed. Relief efforts were insufficient. The net result was that over 1 million people starved to death and a further million or more emigrated. The new Poor Law of 1838 had created poor law unions and instigated the construction of workhouses across the country. Of the over 1 million lives lost during the famine, at least 1 in 5 of these deaths occurred in the workhouses. Those who died were buried in what became known as famine pits or mass graves, such as this one in Manorhamilton, County Leitrim. Nothing remains of the workhouse now, as it was demolished to make way for Our Lady's Hospital in the 1950s. The site sits above the town with views northwards to the surrounding hills, and there were 3 burial grounds originally here within the complex. This is the last remaining one. Peter Higginbotham's website on workhouses includes pages on Irish workhouses. This site is well worth a look. The remaining building is the old fever hospital, built adjacent to the workhouse in 1850, in part as a result of the cholera epidemics breaking out in the workhouse due to overcrowding. This is a similar story to other workhouses in the country at that time. So what do we know about the people buried in this famine graveyard, or any famine graveyard across the country? Sadly, very little. The workhouse here was built to hold 500 people, but during the famine years held double that. Hundreds of people, especially the more vulnerable elderly and children, died here and were buried in mass graves. Catholic parish registers did not record these burials necessarily, and the records don't exist for Manorhamilton. There are some workhouse records that might provide some names of the dead. For Manorhamilton, there are records held in the county library in Ballinamore. There are minute books dating back to 1839. They may contain some names. Other counties may have similar records. The workhouse website mentioned earlier details the surviving records and where they are held. The loss of the 1841 and 1851 household census returns in the fire at the Public Record Office in 1922 in Dublin, and the later start to civil registration in Ireland compared to the UK, have combined to rob future generations of vital records to help potentially name famine victims. However, some research can be made via workhouse records, as mentioned, and other resources such as passenger lists can be used to help find those who emigrated. Next time you see a sign for a famine graveyard, why not stop by and say a prayer?